Well, Sabbath greetings to everyone. I hope you've had a wonderful, wonderful week wherever you have been and whatever you've been facing throughout this week. It is now the Sabbath, and so I hope you're trying to put all of those things of the week behind you and focus on the wonderful opportunity to rest from all those things. And I know many of you have been facing tests and trials, whether it be health trials and tests that are going on around the area, job trials. Those things are happening, and so it is so important every Sabbath to focus on the positive message of hope that God has for those who believe, those who are true followers of Jesus Christ. We don't need to worry. We don't need to have doubts about His plan and purpose in our lives and what He is working out. We know that all things will work together for good for those who love God, those who are the called according to His purpose. So that's what we need to be focused on this Sabbath, is having that renewed faith and confidence in the great God who called us for a purpose. And He does allow us to go through tests and trials, absolutely, because He loves us, because He cares about us, and because He is wanting to help us, to prepare us to be kings and priests. So my prayers are with all of you who are suffering in those various ways, and I encourage all of you, please be praying for one another. I know you do, but let's do even more of it as we see the end approaching, and we see the trials and tests that are mounting in our country, and certainly in the church and within our congregations. We have so many that we can pray for, that we can focus on and ask for God's merciful intervention in one another's lives. That is an important part of why we've been called, is to love one another. Another important part of why we've been called is to do this work. And my mind has really been on that a lot lately, and I hope your mind has been on it as well. I hope you've all signed up for the upcoming February 10th live online presentation from Dr. Meredith. It's the anticipation is building. We have thousands of people registered for that. Some of those brand new people, obviously a lot of the members are planning on listening to that presentation, but we're talking thousands of people that are brand new and who are going to have the opportunity to hear a very powerful message. So we want to be praying about that. These opportunities don't come up all the time, and this is the first time we've taken advantage of this opportunity. So this is when we really want to pray and really want to pour our hearts out to God and ask Him to really show us if this is truly an avenue where we have another wonderful opportunity to preach the gospel to all the world. We know what Jesus said in John 4 and verse 34. He said that it was His will to do, it's His food to do the will of the one who sent Him, to do the will of the Father. That was His food. That was His sustenance. That's what His life was about. And we're supposed to be following in His steps. We have Him living in us. So an indicator of Him living His life in us is how really on fire we are for the work that is being done. It's building. It's growing. It's not a work of man. This is God's work, and He wants us to get behind it. He wants us to put everything we have into that work, and praying for it, and giving generously, and doing everything we can to be a part of what's going on here, understanding that this, again, is not a work of man. So what can we do to make that our food? What can we do to be as intense and as desirous of getting this work done as Jesus was? You know, we don't have the same zeal, but we certainly can have more and more of that same zeal as we have Christ living in us. That's the whole purpose of Him living in us, is to fill us with His character, His zeal, His strength, His attitude, His approach to all these things. So we need to be praying for more co-workers. We need to be praying for more go-tos. We have been getting more go-tos around the area. Please pray for them. I'm trying to get out and visit them and talk to them on the telephone and do what I can to give them information about who we are, what we're about. And it's been a big week in that way. I've got the chance to talk to a number of them, and it's been very fascinating. It's been a wonderful opportunity, and we hope and pray that all those go-tos will listen and begin to act on the calling that many of them are receiving. Some of them are just curious, but certainly some are being called, and some are having the opportunity to act on the truth. So please pray for those go-tos, not just in our area, but all around the world, and that we will be able to hear from many, many more after this live presentation. We want to pray for Dr. Meredith and pray for all those that are responsible for putting this together, and that the technology would go forward as it is intended to get this done. We also want to pray for just all of headquarters, everything that's going on out there, and that's one of the ways that we can have an intensity about this calling and about this life. We have everyday things that we have to deal with. There's no question about it. But when we have that alone time with God and we have the opportunity to pray, that is really something that He wants us to be focused on, to have that as a part of our very motivation for being, to pray for these people that need this message, to pray that more and more will be affected by it, and to pray that we will be able to, as we're instructed to in Matthew 28:19, to go therefore and make disciples of all the nations, to go out to all the world and preach the gospel, giving so many more people an opportunity to hear that message. And most will disregard it, but there will be many who will hear it, who will have the opportunity at least to let it kind of seep into their being, and some will act on it, and some will become disciples, some will become true followers of Jesus Christ. And so we want to be praying about that and make that our work, make that a part of why we're here. And I know many of you do, and many of you are very excited about what's happening here in the Living Church of God, and with the work and all these various different ways that we're trying to get the message out there. It is such a privilege and such an honor to be a part of this end time work. And so I just want to encourage you all to make that your focus this Sabbath, and love each other, pray for one another. There are lots of trials. I'm not going to go into all of those in the video. I don't want to mention names and all that sort of thing, but we'll be covering some of those things in the announcements this Sabbath, and many of you are aware of some of those things that are going on. So please pray for one another. I know you do. I know you pray for me, and I appreciate that, and I'm praying for all of you. I hope you have just a magnificent Sabbath wherever you're at. Be safe out there. Have a wonderful, wonderful Sabbath. We look forward to seeing the brethren in the Dells, and we always look forward to visiting the various congregations. So we'll see everyone, God willing, in the Dells for the Sabbath, and then the rest of the area in the weeks ahead. Of course, February 9th is the Merrill activity that particular weekend, and so we'll look forward to seeing many of you there for that as well. We love you all. Take care. Have a magnificent Sabbath. Love each other. And we'll see you again here very soon. Take care. Talk to you soon.